I was terrified that I wasn't going to make any friends because it was a new time in my life where I knew literally nobody. But you took me in during recruitment week and made me feel so comfortable and got me through one of the hardest weeks of my life. I feel like God places people in our life for a reason, and I'm so glad that we have been best friends since day one, and we got to spend 3 years together as roommates at UNA. Some of the greatest memories that we share together are late night talks to 2 and 3 in the morning, our dance parties to help me de-stress from nursing school, because Lord knows I needed it a lot more than you did because I was so hard on myself, and our many beach trips together throughout the years. Some of the greatest qualities you share as a friend is you have always been so loyal since day one, and you have held me accountable for when I need it. I hate that we live 2 hours away from each other, but I know that we will make time to see each other throughout the years to come. Ever since we have been friends, you have always been such a great and loving friend. You got to stand by me on my wedding day as my maid of honor, and it was one of the most special moments, why am I crying, of my life, and I can't wait to see what the future has in store for you and our friendship. I love you bunches.
So I met Hannah when we were 9, but I would not really hear her speak until about 3 years later in middle school, just because we didn't really run with the same crowds. But in middle school, she was still just shy and quiet, but we ended up just being in the same group at our 7th grade Halloween party for cheer, and this just different side of her came out, and I loved it, and I just knew I wanted more of it in my life. So we just started talking more, became closer friends throughout the rest of middle school and high school, and I'm just so thankful and blessed to have seen the person she's become, and that Bailey gets to love her.
I also met Hannah in middle school, and when I first met her, our parents had kind of known each other before, so we were kind of aware of each other, but I met her on the cheer team as well, and I remember she was my flyer, and she was so small, and I don't know, I just thought she was quiet, I thought she was kind of fragile. She's not fragile. She's so strong, but at the time I thought so, and I remember that we were doing a stunt, and she fell, and I mean like onto her back fell, and it was my job to catch her, and I just did not catch her. And I was 12, but still, I should have caught her. And I remember, like, I don't remember if she cried, but I really don't think she did. I think she like got back up, and she stood up, and she was fine. Like, she was okay, and ever since then I was like, she's a really strong person. She's mentally strong, she's physically strong, and I've got to see her like even grow even more into herself and become even stronger. When she said she wanted to be a nurse, I was like, of course, you'd be so good at that. Like, you have just the ability to be that for other people. So, and I love that about her.
I also met Hannah in middle school, and but we didn't really get close until high school, just naturally being friends with everyone and getting to know her. But I just, really remember just how dependable she was, and how going to like Sonic or TJ Maxx or wherever we were going, she just always was down and just like was so fun to talk to, and was just so easy to talk to. Once you kind of break that initial barrier of thinking that she's shy and realizing she's not shy at all, and she just loves like getting to know you, and it's just so sweet. And I've just really, really grown to love just how dependable she is, and that I can call her at a drop of a hat and she would be there for me.
So I also met Hannah and similar to Nikki, thought she was super shy, quiet, and I accidentally stepped on her pom-pom one day at cheer, and she went off in a kidding way. She said, "I know you did not step on my pom-pom," or something like that. And I remember being like, whoa, but realizing she was funny. And then from there, not only was she funny, she was funny.
She is funny.
And but from there, like, that carried on through the rest of our friendship, throughout middle school, throughout high school, and then especially college. Like, the humor and her boldness is what made our friendship so good. Like, through the breakups and the hard things, like, that is what made her one of my best friends, and that's how I felt like so supported by her. Was she knew how to make things light, but she also knew how to fight for you. So yeah.
Okay, so obviously I've known Hannah my entire life, so picking one memory is kind of impossible, and I know I'm gonna get emotional, so I picked a funny story. I was always kind of Hannah's little brother. I always liked to mess with her, but I also wanted nothing more than to be her. But the first time I really felt like we were more than sisters, we were friends even. It was a Hilton Head trip, and it was a rainy day, and couldn't really do anything. We were kind of stuck inside. This is when Vine was popular. I wish it was, because I wish I could find these videos, but we spent all day making the dumbest vines ever. They're so stupid. I remember there was one where we did like pretend we were younger, did like a face wash thing, and it was her first, and she was supposed to age backwards, and then I was in the camera, and we did something to that Pina Colada song. I didn't even know what that song was, but we like did little sections of it, like acting it out, and it was a really stupid memory, but it was the first time I felt like she wanted to hang out with me, not just obligated to. Hannah and I got a lot closer when she started driving. And I remember crying every single day her senior year because I didn't know what I was going to do without her. Oh, I'm crying so much. She always had a really big friend group. And so, even with that, she always made time for me. Sometimes everyone thinks, we're twins, but sometimes I feel like we're the same person. And I just miss her a lot. Oh, I'm crying this much. Ugh. So many memories. COVID was a whole nother thing, basically. The story I told, but in all over again. We made TikToks all the time like we were children. She used to make me be the boy lead in all the different musicals growing up, High School Musical, Teen Beach Movie. She always got to sing the girl parts. I always had to sing the boy parts, but I was just happy that she wanted to hang out with me. And I hope I can be half the person she is one day.
Obviously, my first memory of Hannah was moment one. And that's obviously something I'll never forget because it was a lot. It's a long, long day for that. And
Oh, she's going to be out of here in another hour, 4 hours later.
Yeah.
Keep going.
She took her time.
Yeah.
She took her time. She's always been on her own time schedule. So, so obviously that was number one. And there've been so many, it's really hard to narrow down. But one of the things that I always think about with Hannah is how she became who she is, and a lot of that, obviously, I guess, had to do with some of us, but some of it was Hannah's cheer and what she did there. It's just a lot of stories. There's a lot of stories that go with that. You've heard some of those, but she had a bad injury and was kind of coming back from that, and we were at a football game. It was her freshman year of high school, and we were at a football game, and it was an away game. Can't remember exactly where we were, but I remember that moment. And she was supposed to throw a tumbling move that she'd been struggling with, and the coach would not let. It's like, you're going to do this. You have to do this. And so, so she stood there, and Hannah does not like to be the center of attention ever. She's always been so shy, and it's weird that she ended up doing cheer, but still, that was her thing. And so she had to stand a little bit away from the team, and until she performed this skill. And I remember sitting there thinking it was an eternity, because I knew in that moment that was her biggest fear, is first of all, people are looking at me, and second of all, I might, eat the concrete. So those were two, pretty big fears. And so I just remember that moment lasting forever, thinking, is she ever gonna be able to do this? Well, of course she did. And I just remember in that moment thinking, like, she was my hero. Like, I was just so proud, first of all, that she overcame the physical, but then just the mental. And since then, I don't know, she has a mental toughness, and I guess that obviously is paying off in her nursing career, but she just has a mental toughness that makes me really proud of her. And you can just see her confidence and her faith growing through that, and it's just been a blessing to watch.
She's one of the most mentally tough people I've been around, period. I used to, when both girls were young and something would happen, I would always ask, are you hurt or are you injured? If you're hurt, you have to get back out there and perform. If you're injured, then you've got to come off the field. And they didn't like the idea of being injured, so they would suck it up and, I'm just hurt, I'm okay. And so Hannah's a very mentally and physically tough person, but one of my moments, being a guy and being somebody that likes to hunt, we were just talking about that, Hannah's always been a girl, and the girl stuff comes easy to Hannah. She knows how to dress, fashion, hair, all that kind of good stuff comes easy for her. But the first time that, well, we went hunting several times together, and the first time she ever actually got a chance to pull the trigger, we just had one of those really cool moments. We had 24 turkeys wandering around in the field. There were 6 or 8 deer, and we were just watching nature. We were watching God's creation, which was very cool just to see it. And then it got time where we had to, decide to go ahead and shoot one. And so figured out, we're like, okay, let's go for this one. It's in the right place and the angle. And I said, remember your breathing, what we've talked about. And she just executed it. I mean, that sounded bad. She executed the shot. She just broke the trigger and bang. And I was watching through the binos, and I could see that it hit the deer, and I could tell by its reaction that it was a good shot. And she just immediately just started shaking like uncontrollably, and then started crying. She was thrilled, but that's the only way she could get that emotion out. Was she was just like,
You thought she was crying for
yeah.
something
I was
else.
like, no, honey, it was a good shot. I promise, it hit it right. But she was, and then she kind of got through that, and then she was really proud over what she'd done because she practiced. We'd been to the range. She did something she had learned how to do. And so that was really cool, and I got to experience that with Grace Ann as well. And it's just as a dad, that's a really special moment. But her reaction. But again, like I said, girl stuff comes easy to Hannah, and for her to do the guy stuff, sort of, it just was really cool to watch. That both her reaction, but then she was like, let's go see it. Let's get some pictures. I smeared blood down her face, and she was showing that to people and put it on Instagram, and she was really proud of it. So that made me very proud because, that's something I like to do, and that was special to share that moment with her. Would you like to look at the ring?
You did it! You did it!
It's perfect. Oh, it's so pretty. She's gonna